gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 225 of the podcast. And before I start off with today's topics, I would like to ask every single one of you, how are you guys doing? I hope everyone had a lovely week. If you didn't have a lovely week, at least I hope that you had a good week. Because at least with good, you at least know certain bad things might have happened, but you can always turn those bad into a good. So that's what I'm hoping that people did at least have if you didn't have a lovely week. I want to always remind every single one of you guys that I don't want you guys to stress over things you guys cannot control. Only focus on things you actually can control. So please do not stress out as much. I know that's against human nature, but please try within your best abilities not to stress over things that you cannot control, because stress is a silent killer. Stress is one of those things that will kill you, I believe, faster than anything, because if you find out you have a medical diagnosis, stress starts getting to you, and then you start developing, at least we'll say your health starts rapidly decreasing faster over the stress that you now know of the medical procedure that you have to have, or the medical condition that you have, or because something just isn't done. Stress adds onto it, and I just don't want people to be stressed out over things that they cannot handle. Only focus on things you actually can control, that's within your hands or arm's reach to actually handle and control. Please take care of it that way, and please take care of those things. If you didn't take care of everything that you needed to do last week, have no fear. You have a whole nother week to accomplish what you need to get done. And once again, please do not stress over things you cannot control. All right. So with that out of the way, I'd like to start off with the National Food Days of the week. Today being April the 27th, it is Prime Rib Day. April 28th, it is Blueberry Pie Day. April 29th, it is Shrimp Scampi Day. And April 30th, it is Oatmeal Cookie Day, as well as Raisin Day. Now, May 1st, it has Chocolate Parfait Day. May 2nd, Chocolate Truffle Day. And to round us out, May the 3rd, it is Chocolate Custard Day, as well as Raspberry Tart Day. So with that stated, that's your National Food Days of the week. And now let's get into some of those news headlines that happened this week, so I can just recap it for you guys. Not too many big news topics happened this week, so I just want to give you guys the breakdown on that. So don't expect a lot of big news stories out of this episode here. But the first one I do want to talk about is something that happened up in the northern east part of the United States, more specifically in New Jersey. There was a big wildfire that spread in New Jersey. The Associated Press would write up an article about it. And in the article, they would state a man set a bonfire using wooden pallets in New Jersey's Pine Barrens and left them without fully extinguishing the blaze, sparking a quick-moving wildfire with smoke affecting air quality in the New York City area, authorities said Thursday. Authorities arrested Joseph Kling, 19, of Waretown, New Jersey, and charged him with arson and aggravated arson in the fire that's still burning in southern New Jersey. The wildfire was described as starting with an improperly extinguished bonfire. The judge in this case right now, James Gluck, told Kling during a brief court appearance Thursday the state sought to have him detained pending trial, and he wouldn't be released. Kling spoke briefly only to clarify that his next court appearance was set for Tuesday. "Thank you. Have a nice day," he said when the judge dismissed him. Authorities first spotted the blaze Tuesday morning from a fire tower when a smoke column appeared amongst the pines. Law enforcement said they used a GPS to plot the origin of the fire and determined the cause was a bonfire that had been put out. So there you go. You at least have an understanding of why there was a lot of fires going down in New Jersey this past week. I know in the news up there. They talked about how people had to evacuate out of certain spots because the smoke was heavy. They did advise people to keep like their windows up. I mean, there's only so much you can do whenever a fire is happening. I know they said they at least should have it, last time I checked on it, 60% of it like covered. So there's that. To anyone that is going to go in the woods and start a fire, I say don't. Matter of fact, don't go in the woods right now. Don't do it. Don't go in the woods. Don't try to start a campfire, bonfire. It's not the time or place for it at all. You're seeing fires almost everywhere right now. I'm not gonna say this month, but this year so far it started. California, again, they have fires over there. South Carolina, they had fires there. New Jersey, this is a fire here. I don't know what's going to get people to understand you're not supposed to be starting fires right now. This year isn't the year to be starting fires at all. The weather is different. Things are turning right in front of our faces, and I'm not certain if humans are just not smart enough to understand what's going on, or they want to try to spit in the face of nature and say, I'm going to do whatever I want. It's never ever going to turn out good for you in that manner if you try to spit in the way of nature or spit in the face of logic or common sense of something that's happening right in front of your face. It's never ever good. It never turns out good for you. So a 19-year-old right now is going to have to wait until Tuesday to see what's basically going to be happening to him. I think there needs to be a precedent set. I think that there needs to be something set for someone that's starting fires and not putting them out properly. There needs to be some type of hard sentence for them. And I'm not saying give them like a murderer sentence. Only time you do that is if that bonfire happened to cause people to die, not wildlife. Because even though people love animals, people are not going to be crying so much over a bear unless you get PETA involved. And then that's whenever we get differences of opinion there. But I say a grand majority where the general public wouldn't care so much about wild animals getting burned like that is only whenever you see human bodies be talked about burned in a wildfire. That's whenever I feel like a hard punishment of a murder or something like that will be handed down. But for anyone that's going to start a fire, not properly put it out to make sure it is out all the way, and your bonfire or your fire in general happens to linger and it sets the whole thing ablaze, I think there needs to be a hard sentence like laid onto them. I say we put them, at least sit them down at least for 3 to 4 years. At least 3 to 4. People might say that's hard. No, it's not. Murderers and killers get way more. And plus you're killing the environment. You're killing all that type of stuff. Again, you still got to set a precedent for it. But I think people needs to get hit with this, but not get hit with a murderer sentence. You know what I mean? 3 to 4 years. I feel that someone can do it. The average person wouldn't want to do it, but you can, because if you were able to survive high school and everything like that, because that's, when you look at high school, that's literally 4 years, 3 if you get out, if you want to double the work on one of your years, you're able to do it. But when you're out in society, you don't want to try to spend all your time cooped up in one spot. But this will tell everyone, don't light a fire and not put it out properly. So I think there needs to be something set, hard stance for things like this to go down. And hopefully this will be the situation. Because again, this is the third one this year. That's marked in 2025 right now. The third one. So hopefully that's what happens. If they don't give this person jail time, hopefully they hit him with such a big fine. But I mean, money's funny. But you got my point here. I want people to stop lighting fires right now because it's not the thing right now. It's not needed at all. So that's the big wildfire nature type of topic that I did want to get out the way first and foremost. Next thing I do want to discuss or make mention of, because I'm not really going to discuss it as much, Pope Francis' funeral. It happened Saturday. By the time you listen to this, yesterday. You had leaders popping in. You had Donald Trump there. You had his wife there. You had Prince Williams, who was on behalf of his father, that was there for the service. You had Joe Biden, his former wife, there as well. You had all these dignitaries there at this funeral for the Pope. The big takeaway for me is always seeing the Pope in the casket. I don't get it. That's not for me to understand. That's not my thing for that. It didn't happen during the funeral. They had it shut and closed. But the week that he died, this past week, and people were visiting the body in the casket, you had a long set of line. Just people trying to give their respects, or they had FOMO. They didn't want to miss out on something that was historic like this. They wanted to see the Pope's body in the casket, all that type of stuff. I don't see the big thing about it. I mean, I get he's a Pope. I'm not trying to crap on what he did. Never trying to do that. I'm just saying this. The man is no longer here. You have YouTube videos. You have all this type of stuff. Why are you trying to see the man in his grave out like that? I don't understand it. It's not something that I would do personally. But again, I'm not the world. The world is different from me. I'm just trying to understand that as a thing. You know what I mean? I think that public figures should have their caskets kind of closed if they want to have the people view it. I think the casket should be closed. I don't think that people should be able to see the person's body inside the casket. I just think that even having a viewing is still a weird type of thing for me. But hey, that's a part of the package, if you will. That's part of the package of whenever you pass away. People got to have the viewing, the looking at the casket, looking at the body. That's just something that I just can't understand. But a lot of people went to pay their respects. Congratulations for them. The Vatican, they're already underway trying to find a new pope. And I hope, again, as I said on my Wednesday episode, I talked about how I hoped that the new pope is going to be just like this previous pope that just passed, Pope Francis. Again, I hope that the pope looks at his blueprint and builds upon the blueprint that Pope Francis left behind, and don't try to regress and say, well, that was the Pope, that was his thing, I'm going to do my thing, and my thing might be more going backwards instead of going forwards. Because here's the thing with a lot of religion. I think religion needs to be more progressive with things. Yes, you can still stand in some old ideologies. Yes, you can still stand in some old traditions, but I think about a good 80% of it needs to probably change and be more with the times, if you will. I think that a lot of religions needs to be more up to date with the way that they treat people and the way that things happen. You know what I mean? I was listening to Bill Burr. He made a nice little joke on somebody's podcast. And he made mention how the Catholic Church is still open and how he finds that kind of weird, how that religion, knowing what we know about it, is still open. That's like saying a school that you know what it does if they were to allegedly touch children, and you know that school was doing that, that school wouldn't be around no more. That school would be burned down, canceled out, all that. But for a religion, the Catholics, to still have that religion being what it is, and we know what it is, because we're not ever shocked if a person in the Catholic religion of a certain, let's say, certain title happens to come out and say that they touch children, or that someone were to say that that person touched my child, and we were to make a guess about what religion it came from, everyone would more than likely say it's Catholic religion. I'm still shocked how that religion is still around. But Pope Francis, he was one that's trying to condemn all of that. He didn't like that. He didn't like the idea of people touching children. He didn't like that. He didn't like the idea of people in his own clergy touching children. He apologized for people of the past, and he wanted to, again, try to turn this religion over and make them have an about face and acknowledge the bad that happened in the past, but trying to say we're trying to change for the future. So that's what I mean by that. That's progressive. Old popes, I don't think would have done that. Again, I'm not a well-historied person on the Catholic religion, but I don't ever remember a pope in the past saying something about that incidents or those incidences and apologizing for previous people of the past. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that the new pope, again, follows the path of Pope Francis. I hope that they follow his blueprint. And once again, they condemn some of the stuff that happened in the past and also gets progressive and tries to modernize the church. Again, stay steadfast in some of your hard beliefs, but you can lean up on some of them. You know what I mean? Off of that, an update here. This goes more into the sports world here. Shannon Sharpe, he is stepping away from ESPN duties because of the lawsuit that he is facing. Shannon Sharpe has said he will take a temporary step away from ESPN after being sued for assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery. Again, he denies all the allegations that is being levied onto him. And he would say, I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations sent against me. I plan on to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason, Sharpe said in a statement issued on Thursday. ESPN was saying in a statement, this is a serious situation and we agree with Shannon's decision to step away. So it seems that ESPN and Shannon Sharpe have an agreement to have Shannon Sharpe step away. Again, for people that are unaware of what's going on with Shannon Sharpe is being sued by a Jane Doe. Shannon Sharpe would tell who the Jane Doe is. This is a woman that he had former relations with. I mentioned all of this on my Wednesday episode, but I give just a quick recap because I'm not going to go through all that. You can listen to Wednesday what I said about it. Shannon Sharpe, when he met the girl, they're saying, at least in the documents, she was 20. And this was right around 2023, 2022, one of the 2 years. She was 20 when he met her. And Shannon Sharpe now is 56. So that would make Shannon Sharpe at the time 53, 54. You can do the guess of age range from how old they were different. There's a 30 years some age gap between the two. I said it on Wednesday and I will constantly say it here, and with future issues coming into situations, because there will be more topics like this coming into the future. I don't care whether it's a man or female. If you are a big age, and I'm talking about in your 50s, in your 60s, 70s, you should have no business dating or messing around with a 20-year-old. Not at all. You shouldn't. You should be messing around with someone in your age range. And I'm talking about this. Shannon's situation, he's about 56. He would have been 54, 53 when he met this woman at the time. He should have messed around with someone. If anything, you want to go outside of your early 50s, late 40s, you could have did, early 50s, late 40s, you could have did early 40s, late 30s. That's what you could have did. So about around the age of, I'll say 35 to 45, if Shannon wanted to do that. Not someone that's 20. You need to find a reasonable age gap for you in these type of instances. Shannon Sharpe, again, NFL Hall of Famer. He's a beloved, I'll say a news media member. I just hate to see all this come out in the public. I understand, once again, this is all still playing out. You can make your opinions on the situation all on your own. My opinion is I'm going to wait until more stuff comes out. But at the time of this right now, I just don't like this situation happening. I don't like that Shannon Sharpe is getting hit with all this at this exact moment. But if he did do what is alleged, I mean, my man really got to have a sit down. He really got to have a sit down, and he just got to reap what he sows. I think he's reaping what he sows right now because people have been pulling up the Cat Williams and the Monique interviews that he did last year, and he kind of like spelled it out for him. Cat Williams, the soundbite that's constantly been hitting is how he talked about with the Jonathan Major situation, which happened late 2023 and ended in 2024. He mentioned how a white woman can take you down in 2 weekends. And you could be as strong as Kane the Conqueror. And then once they're done with you, they just throw you out after they're done messing with you like that, because they can ruin your career. And in Monique's situation, again, the clip that's running around, Monique told Shannon Sharpe that he doesn't need to be messing around with younger females. She doesn't say race, but she mentions age. He needs to date someone in his age range, someone that will be there for him, rub his back whenever he's at a hard day, and just basically just like be there for him. Saying that these young girls ain't gonna do like some of these mature women will do. So both of those interviews kind of play into point exactly what's going on with Shannon Sharpe right now. But again, this is something that I feel that all athletes, all celebrities, all entertainers, all people that have big wallets need to understand, whether you're a man or a female. Because as a matter of fact, Tracee Ellis Ross, she got hit with some disparaging comments for, I believe she did a podcast with Michelle Obama. And she talked about on that, because there was a clip that went around, not this week, but the week before, about how she likes to date younger men because the older men, basically in her age, are stuck in their ways, kind of being manipulative. If she sees red flag traits, which she sees a lot more in older men, she kind of dips out. The younger guys, they're willing to try stuff out and willing to do things differently. They're not really stationed in who they are. They have more wiggle room for if you want to do something else. While older gentlemen, they're stuck in their ways. She didn't like that. So that's the reason why she messed around with younger guys. And Tracee Ellis Ross, she caught a lot of flack for that online, from men online and certain women online as well. Again, this is what happens when you just have bigger wallets. You like to date people that are younger than you. I don't think that you should do that as much. I mean, you could date someone younger than you, that's part of life, but I don't think you should be dating someone way out of your age gap. Just stay within your age gap, and if you want to take a leap, do someone that's probably 10 years lesser than you if you're 40. If you're 40, you can date someone that's 30-year-old. I think that's fine. But if you're 40 and you try to date someone that's 20, that's 20 years different from you. You're already playing a real dangerous game right there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay within your age range, okay? So that's, again, just my talk about Shannon Sharpe right now. Shannon is stepping away from ESPN, but I still think he's doing his nightcap stuff with Chad Ochocinco, because I know during the draft, like night one of the draft, they were talking with one another and all that type of stuff. And speaking of the draft, I got to do it since we're still in sports right now. At the time of this recording, Shedeur Sanders has not been drafted yet, or we have no idea if he will be drafted, but he was one of the big talking points for this year's draft. Him, Travis Hunter, and a couple other people, though, they were like the real talking points of the draft this year, where certain people would go. Shedeur Sanders has not been drafted. His boy, Travis Hunter, he was drafted. Matter of fact, he was second pick of the first round. And all throughout the night for Thursday, because that's when the first night of the draft happened, people were wondering where Shedeur was going to go. When is he going to get picked? And nothing happened. Friday, day 2 of the draft, nothing happened. And that was, again, shocking to me, because I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. I watch football only for people to get hit or to see a play get done. I don't really keep up with a lot of these football players' names like that, because unlike basketball and I say soccer as well, football, you only know certain people's names because of what marketing they want behind them. So I don't know all these college players' names like that will be going into the draft or all that type of stuff, or all these football players' names like that. I don't. I only look for people get hit or people that throw the ball or media name recognition. Okay? I just want to put that real bluntly clear when I say that when I watch football. I don't really know all the ins and outs like that, but I do know when a play looks screwed up when I see it. When you look at all the media coverage and you look at all the sports analysts talk about the prospects and all that, Shedeur's name was always typically at the top. Like, if not the first 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll say around top 10 names that would always be thrown in there. But media, again, being who they are and being Deion Sanders' son, you know that his name got pushed more up because of who his father was. But there's no disrespect to it, because a lot of people get that exact same rub too whenever your father is a great player in his field. Again, we got that experience last year when we had the whole Bronny James situation. The NBA draft was literally everyone trying to figure out when Bronny James' name was going to get called up to get drafted by the Lakers. That's all people cared about. That's all people really were looking for last year. Even with the record that Bronny had, all that type of stuff, right? I say that was the same thing here with Shedeur, but you could tell the difference, and you see the difference. Bronny James, he got picked, second round, some big number picked, right? Shedeur, no picks, nothing. Not first, not second round. As I'm recording this, is the third day, so this is the third round for it. At the time of me recording this right now, Shedeur Sanders still hasn't been picked. And it's real just weird, and you can see how things are different in different leagues. I just mentioned the comparison of this year. Shedeur, father being Deion Sanders, great player, great all that type of stuff, Hall of Famer. While last year, Bronny James, father, LeBron James, man still playing basketball, future Hall of Famer, multi-time world champion. Same thing with Deion Sanders, multi-time champion as well. But you can tell there's a stark difference in both leagues in the way how they do this. NFL won't go for the same stuff that the NBA will go for, because the NFL, I feel, is more of a stricter thing than the NBA. I feel that NFL owners will only allow certain of their favorites to do certain things, but the rest of the team will have to bow down, bow the knee, everything else. People will say that's what happens in the NBA as well. There's more star players on an NBA team than they are star players on an NFL team. You could try to say whatever you want. Look at the history of the NBA and look at the history of the NFL. You will always see at least one star player on one NFL team, period. While the NBA, you'll at least see 2 to 3 star players on that team. Certain teams, I'm not even going to play into it because people will say, what about the Raptors and all that? No. I'm talking about the star caliber teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Miami Heats. Like, during its pivotal times, they always had 2 to 3 big star making names. And this is just me being a casual, just throwing some of these teams out. But if you speak to an NFL person and an NBA person, I guarantee you they'll probably be able to back up exactly what I'm saying right now. You have more star players in the NBA than there are in the NFL, and the NFL likes to be a controlled entity. The owners like to control their players and what they do. Only some of the star players, they cannot truly do that because the star players are what brings you in the revenue and they help the team image only if they're winning. If they suck, boy, they get ridiculed as bad. But NBA is completely different. NBA players, I feel they got a lot of free reign to just talk about things, do things differently than a lot of NFL players. And this just happens to coincide here with the Shedeur and Bronny situation. Shedeur, son of Deion, they said that he was boisterous. He wasn't too, quote unquote, humble, the humility type route. Shedeur was being the son of Deion Sanders. He's full of confidence. He knows who he is. He isn't going to just bend the knee like that to scouts and all that type of stuff. No, he's going to feel as a young man should feel if you're confident in yourself. While I feel in NFL, that's not what they want from you. They want you to feel humble. They want you to feel like this is an honor to play for your team and all that. But if you're not that way, you can't try to mask that. You only can mask it so much before it really explodes and everyone gets to see the real true you. I'd rather them see Shedeur for who he is, as being this guy who's knows who he is. He's who he is. And whether you like it or not, you got to accept the skills to what he can bring to your team. And it seems to me that's not the case for the NFL people. As a matter of fact, to further prove my point, I have a clip here from one of the sports analysts to kind of say the exact same thing what I'm talking about.
And I think that this is the NFL starting to take a stand with all the changes that we are seeing in the climate of college football. These kids, they have a lot of power, and especially a kid like Shedeur, whose father happens to be Deion Primetime Sanders. Kids hold all of the control and all the power when it comes to college football. Whenever that starts to transcend and work its way and leak and creep into the NFL, that's when the owners are going to put their foot down. That's when the league is going to put its foot down and say enough is enough. And I think this is the perfect example of it. And unfortunately, it does have to be Shedeur. We can sit here and talk about how great he is as a quarterback, how accurate he is, how he stands in the pocket and delivers the football under pressure. He does a lot of things well. But at the end of the day, this is not about Shedeur's play. This is about the fact that he is the most polarizing, the brightest example of what college football is becoming. And he is going to suffer because of it. He is suffering because of it, because the NFL is looking at him like he's our prime suspect of somebody we can make an example out of and send a message. And that is exactly what the NFL is doing.
So you see right there, that's what I was meaning. I didn't mention the college into it, but college does play a part into it. When you look at all the college players that got NIL deals and all that, they're able to jump from one college to another if they don't like it, if they don't like it in the time they're playing, all that type of stuff, because college players are starting to make money. Like people in the pros. Like I feel like college players should have been doing for a long period of time, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, college and NFL are two different things. To me, I feel that the college NFL players are able to, college players, not college NFL players, but college players are able to do what they can, get the money that they can do, but also speak out. And if they say they don't like somewhere, they can go somewhere else and go about their way. While you're in the NFL, not so much. You got to be beholden to the team and the owner that you're under and all that. So in my perspective, I think more close to the NBA and the NFL is more college, because again, you get to experience, you get to now make money, you get to do all these different things like people in the NBA would. You get to experience things, you get to make money, you get to voice yourself and voice your opinions. But when you get into the NFL, you got to shut all that away and you got to become one with the team, or you got to be so undeniable that you be able to do whatever you want. And the teams would just got to be like, well, that's just him, but we appreciate what he can do, and he's a winner, so that's all we care about. Right now, they just see Shedeur as a guy that's going to just, they think he's going to be about himself, but I don't think so. I think Shedeur is going to be a great addition to any NFL team that they want him to be a part of. I just hope that he gets that opportunity and they don't really just shaft him. That's what I'm hoping for with Shedeur here, but time will tell. But as I said, at the time of this recording right now, he has not been drafted at all. And hopefully that changes by the time you listen to this episode. But if it hasn't, that's just a shame. It's a pure shame. But I am glad that Shedeur does have a family that supports him and will try to at least bring him up in a spot that's supposed to be good for him, because the draft always, everybody's supposed to be happy, you're supposed to be excited about the draft. And again, what the media talk about him being a top guy, you thought he was going to get drafted. He didn't. There's a video running around of his brother Shiloh talking next to him, and he makes it like a little joke, and he says, man, I know if they didn't pick you in the first round, I know there's no shot from me. And again, Shiloh plays football with his brother as well. And you just see Shedeur laugh at that, because his brother is knocking himself, saying, I know you're good. And if you don't get drafted first round, I know there's no hope for me. And that's when Shedeur just had kind of got a nice little laugh and a nice little chuckle. I'm glad that the brothers did. I'm glad that his brother was able to make a serious situation laughable for Shedeur. Because again, the light was on Shedeur, the spotlight, primetime was on Shedeur, and it just didn't come to play the first day or second day. So again, I'm hoping that he does get a chance to play in NFL, and all these other NFL teams will have to eat it. That's what I'm hoping for Shedeur. And also, I'm not the only person saying this neither. A lot of sports pundits are saying that too. A lot of big name sports pundits are saying it as well. So again, time will tell. Let's see how this happens. But again, I hope Shedeur gets to play. Now, moving off of sports talk, I do want to give another condolence here to Virginia Giuffre. She is one of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse survivors. NBC News would write up an article about her saying that she did pass away because of self-transitioning. She died in Australia, where she had been living for several years. Virginia was one of the earliest and loudest voices calling for criminal charges against Epstein and his enablers. Other Epstein abuse survivors later credited her with giving them the courage to speak out. She also provided crucial information to law enforcement that contributed to the investigation into and later the conviction of Epstein's associate, Miss Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as other investigations by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Also, I believe she was the woman that said something about Prince Andrew. And that's the reason why we haven't seen Prince Andrew around we haven't seen him around in the public light. You know what I mean? They said that she filed a federal lawsuit against Andrew in 2021, alleging that he sexually abused her when she was 17. There it is. Andrew, who stepped back from his duties as an active royal as controversy related to the Epstein swirled around him, agreed to settle the case for an undisclosed amount in 2022. He has denied having sex with her. So there you have it on the Prince Andrew part, about her playing a big part in him kind of being away from the public light. Her brother would say that she was in real physical pain. She suffered from renal failure, but he thinks that the mental pain was worse. So that probably could have been one of the reasons why she self-transitioned. Again, nobody will ever truly know unless someone left a note and they got it. Again, I'm not going to go more into that, but rest in peace to Miss Giuffre right here, Virginia Giuffre. For me, I just find it kind of just odd. I find it odd. I'm hoping that I'm wrong in my thought process on this. I'm not going to go more into it, but I don't think that she truly self-transitioned. That's just me. That's me. I'm not going to go more into that. I feel it's distasteful if I were to, but just know I have my thoughts and opinion on this. But again, rest in peace to Miss Giuffre on this matter. And I'm hoping that her family will be able to try to cope with what happened and seek a therapist out. Seek one, because they're desperately going to need one for this issue right here. So again, rest in peace to Miss Giuffre once again. Now, moving off of that, one last topic that I do want to discuss is Gilbert Arenas' son, Alijah Arenas. He was involved in a single vehicle crash in California. They say it happened before 5 a.m. on a Thursday. His Tesla Cybertruck smashed into a tree, which then had fire. He was transported out of that to a hospital. He was in serious condition. They put him in a induced coma. They would report to ESPN that on Friday he did wake up and he has shown significant signs of progress within the last 24 hours. The family said he remembered the smoke from the crash and wrote to ask, did anyone get hurt? So Alijah Arenas is in stable conditions. I'm happy that that young man is in good condition, and I'm hoping that no one else was hurt in that at the time, they're just saying that it was only Alijah right now. So I'm glad that it was only just him, and I'm glad that he is good. There's no type of big thing wrong with him, because if there were, you would have heard about him having a broken leg, broken arm, something like that, if it was like that. But I'm glad nothing come out like that. So that's one. Two, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he sped into it. Was he trying to dodge something? I don't know. But that early, like at 5 a.m. on a Thursday morning, he probably could have just tried to go to the gym to get more basketball training in, something. I don't know. But point being is, I would say get your kid a car that probably doesn't go fast. That's all I could say for this. I'm not saying that he did go fast, but for your car to smash into a tree and it was only your vehicle, you don't see another vehicle around or anything like that, I believe that's the indications of someone driving fast. And again, I'm not a police officer. I'm not an investigator. This is just me freely thinking out loud. Again, the show's called My Two Cents. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with this. I just want parents to not give their kids such a fast car. Don't do it. Give them something that is reliable. Give them something that gives them a nice, decent amount of speed for if they want to feel touchy and try to just go fast, but not something that's fast. You know what I mean? Again, I am happy that Alijah Arenas is okay. I'm hoping that Gilbert and his baby mother, I don't know Elijah's mom's name, so excuse me for my ignorance on that one. I'm hoping that the family is okay. I'm hoping that the family is all right. I'm hoping that they're good, and I'm hoping that Alijah just regains and be all right. That's all we are really hoping for instances like this, because it could have turned the other way around and Alijah could have not been here. So again, I am happy that he is here. So again, I'm hoping that the young man just stays safe and nothing like this happens again to anybody personally. But again, parents, do not give your kids fast cars, please. Please don't do that. So with that being said, I believe that's everything that I do want to discuss with everybody. Hold on one second. I had to refresh something. Shedeur Sanders. I just talked about him. Jesus Christ. I did a whole monologue. Shedeur Sanders has finally been selected by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round of the NFL draft. Dude, he was taken at 144th overall. Again, I'm happy that he's in the NFL. I just said it. Again, you just heard me talk about it. I'm happy he's in there now. It's crazy how it took them this long to get him in, but as long as he got in, that's all that matters. I'm happy that Shedeur is in there. I'm hoping that he makes all the freaking NFL teams pay for him having to wait that long. And the funny thing is, they try to say, because he looked up to Tom Brady, they try to say that Shedeur Sanders, they're doing to Shedeur what they did to Tom Brady. I don't want them to try to put that title on Shedeur. I don't. Let Shedeur work towards that. Don't try to throw him and thrust him into that Tom Brady spot because of you see the potential that he has. Let Shedeur work for that, because I don't want a lot of media to try to just go down his throat. I don't. He already has enough on his plate. Again, being a Deion Sanders kid, you already know what it is. You got pressure already looking at you that way. And now they're already trying to do the comparison of Tom Brady was picked 199th, and now you're 144. I guarantee you they're going to try that. I don't need that from people. Let the boy just play. Let him do his business. Let him thug it out. And again, to all the draft picks that got picked this year, just know your first year is going to be all right. For you first rounders, you guys are going to be looked at a lot. And I mean extremely a lot. You too, Shedeur, even though you weren't first round, you were 5th round, they're going to look at you. They are. That's just the name of the game. But just try your best. And everybody that's not in the NFL, I believe all the NFL people know that, hey, we're going to have to work on this person. It's going to take some time for them to develop into the NFL player that we want. So please do not stress yourself out, NFL players that got drafted this year. Please do not stress yourself out. But again, congratulations to Shedeur now. God, earlier I was real not happy of him not being picked. Now I'm happy. So congratulations to the kid. Now, with that news out the way, now I believe that's everything that I do want to discuss. So with that stated, it is now time for me to get you guys out of here. I want to thank everyone for downloading this podcast and listening to this podcast. I would like to thank all the downloaders, listeners, the podcasting sites that have me on here, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Google, Podbean, all the other podcasting sites. Because without them, I won't be able to get this podcast out to you guys, downloaders and listeners. And again, as I stated, I'd like to thank you guys, downloaders and listeners as well, because I see where the downloads are coming from. And again, to see that it's not just in the States, it's outside the States that this podcast reach, that's incredible to me, and I do not take that lightly. I appreciate that so much. So with that stated, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
that is not a gimmick. I truly do appreciate and love every single one of you guys for taking the time to download and listen to the podcast, whether you're in your car, in your home, in the gym, or just have it on just for background noise. I truly do appreciate it. And always remember to take something away from the podcast. Take either a news article that I talk about, or a topic, or my opinion. You can just bring it out to the real world and just see what people think about it. Strike up conversations with random different people. That's what I want this podcast to be for a lot of people. For people that don't talk to people out there on the regular, and you got a job to do it. Talk to people and just see what they feel about certain things. So, having said all that, again, this has been the My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I have been G2. He is I, and I am him. I want every single one of you guys to have a sweet and lovely week. You'll hear from me again Wednesday for my midweek breakdown. If you are a wrestling fan or you watch professional wrestling, I do 2 episodes of professional wrestling topics. My Thursday one is the series that I do. It's called Let's Have a Chat series, where I talk about things in professional wrestling that I just thought about. This month, in the month of May, I'll be talking about stables. So you got that. And also my Saturday episodes, I talk about everything that happened in the world of professional wrestling, which is called your Wrestling Highlights of the Week. So that's the episode that you can look forward to that dropping as well this upcoming Saturday. And if you did listen to it from this week, you can do it now. You can download that episode that I just dropped yesterday. And I'll be back again next Sunday as well for another episode of the My 2 Cents podcast, brand episode where I talk about everything in the world of news. So with that, this has been the My 2 Cents podcast. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from the sweet sounding voice again. I love you all. Have a great week. And with all that stated and said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.